Hi friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I am so excited that you are here today. Today I am sharing a flip through of my traveler's notebook that I have created using all of my Sunday sketches thus far. So over on Instagram, every Sunday I post up an image of a sketch for a traveler's notebook page. Now these can be adapted into whatever size scrapbook you're working in. I just choose to do mine in traveler's notebook, so they are drawn out as though it were a traveler's notebook. Let me grab my sketchbook and I'll show you a couple of examples. So this is my sketchbook that I like to draw out all of my layout ideas on. These are the last two that we just created. So here's one that is like a circular element with a photo and embellishment cluster. Here's one that had a series of 8 photos on it with a title and journaling at the bottom. And then here's one where it was a half circle photo with some titles and journaling and embellishments. So every Sunday I post up an image of one of these in addition to some photos of a spread that I make using this sketch. So I have filled up my first traveler's notebook with all of these spreads, and I thought I would just film a flip through for you so you can see what kind of pages we are putting together. So I'm starting out this album by just dating the first day I started working in it and the last day that I the day that I completed the last spread. So this one spans from March 21st through May 17th. The first spread right here I made on an Instagram Live video. So this was the first spread, and this is actually what inspired the Sunday Sketch series at all. So I wanted to use a graphic element and I decided to go with triangles. So I cut a bunch of scrap papers into triangles and then layered them on here to give it kind of a geometric look. Then I just added some journaling. I put some mats behind my photo and I did pop it up onto foam. I decided that this book was going to have fewer spreads in it so that I didn't have to care about dimension, that I could just use dimension if I wanted to. And then I used this title right here. It says Today, which was from a Felicity Jane puffy sticker set. So this one was really fun. I made this. It was actually a crafty chat with my friend Tashi and the community. And while I was doing this, I had a few of the members of the community tell me that I should start a sketch series and that they would love to follow along with that. So that's where this whole thing originated from. The second spread that I made here, I used this background paper that I created with watercolors. I just had fun watercoloring, and then I stamped the Love You Because 5 times on the side and wrote 5 little blocks of journaling using my Ali Edwards Slick Writer pen, and just wrote 5 reasons why I love my husband. I have this picture of my husband throwing our son up into the air. Loved this picture. And then I used some digital elements from the Ali Edwards Friends story kit to print off some floral elements in different colors on both cardstock and vellum. And then I layered them together and adhered them all into the corner to give it a really textured look down here. Added my date and called this one done. The next spread here is a rainbow that I made again with watercolors. So I watercolored the rainbow and then I cut out all of the individual strips out of the paper and roughed up the edges to give it some of that textural feeling. And then I stitched it down for each color. I stitched it on the 2 sides. So it is stitched on, and this is just on, I think all of these are on plain cardstock or watercolor paper. And then once I had it done, I then adhered the entire page into the book. I used a color cast acrylic piece that says Right Now, Spark Joy. And then I had some white sticker stars that I just used those same watercolors to color those up as well. Took my picture, matted it up a couple times, and then I had some black and white tiny word phrases. So I just decided to create a frame using those as well, just to add a little bit more interest to this page, and then journaled around the outside of the rainbow. The next spread here was a repeat stamp side and a full picture side. So I have this full picture of my son Jonah, and then I used this corner to layer up a bunch of different labels and used that to put my journaling in. Over here I used the Play Allie Edwards story stamp, and I said playing equals learning over and over again, and I just used the primary colors. I don't know, I guess it was just boyish, I suppose, but there's also yellow and red and blue over in this picture, so it just helps pull in some of those colors. And then I created an embellishment up in the upper right hand corner as well, so you've got that like diagonal line that draws your eye through the spread. The next page that I created here was inspired by a page from Dearly D. So the Be Kind and these hearts are actually a free digital download that she offered. So I downloaded those, printed or cut them out using my Silhouette, and then I backed each of the hearts with different photos of watercolor pages that I had created because I had started my 100-day project. I journaled about it down here and added that with vellum, and then just used some ephemera pieces from my stash to finish this page up. Next, I have a spread that's all about Easter. So this one, the idea was to use this center area to create a grid-like spread, and then to use the top and the bottom as the title and the journaling. So I used some papers that were more spring feeling, just ones from my stash. I added 4 photos, 2 of each of the kids, and then went through my embellishment stash and pulled out whatever I could to fill in the other little squares. I love how this one turned out. It's really spring and pretty. This next one is one of my favorite spreads from this entire book. This one I used pattern paper and I cut it into strips. I believe these are 1 inch. Yes. I cut them into 1 inch strips, and then so they're 1 inch wide by 2 inches. Sorry, 2 inches wide by 1 inch tall. Then I used those to create a almost like a brick pattern background over here. It was a great way to use up some scraps. I added some chipboard and some wood veneer stars on here just to give it some dimension. This was a pattern paper from Freckled Fawn. As was this sun. It was in a different paper. I just fussy cut it out and added it to here along with the You Are My Sunshine stamp from Allie's You story kit. And then that's where this photo frame came from as well, which I just stapled on because it is a plastic piece, so you can see through to whatever is behind it, so I didn't want to adhere it down. So it's just stapled on there on the top and on the bottom. Then I added a journaling spot and the date and called this one done. So yeah, this is one of my favorite spreads, and it's of the kids walking holding hands, so super cute. This spread is all about Mother's Day. So I pulled out a Felicity Jane kit that I've had for a long time. It's called Sarah, and I used that to create this spread. That along with some You story pieces. I think I've got some You story pieces. You know, actually I don't think I do. I think it's just Felicity Jane and some stash pieces. So I first I added the bow. Well, I had this bow pattern paper. I cut it into the square, so it's 8.5. It would have been 8.5 by 8.25, and then I ran it around my sewing machine a bunch of times to create this circular textural element, so you can kind of see the circle in here. Then I made the photo cluster down here with embellishments, and then a smaller one up in the upper left-hand corner. The florals right here are all from the Felicity Jane kit. This little bird came from the I Am Simple Stories chipboard set. And then some of the other pieces like the hearts and these like leafy bits and the recorded by are from just my stash, just stuff I had in my stash. Then for my journaling, I turned my photo into a pocket by adding adhesive just to the 2 sides and the bottom. So then this tag pulls out and my journaling is on the back of the tag. So it is a hidden journaling spread here. where you can pull that out and read it if you want, or you can leave it in and it's just pretty. This spread right here is that one I showed you guys earlier where there were the 8 photos lined up. So this one, I used that same collection, the Sarah collection. So there are some very sweet colors in it, and then there were some also like almost picnicky colors in it that I loved. So I used the yellow as the background and put on some of that blue gingham for the top and just some plain pink at the bottom, just to give it that structure where in the middle the photos can be, I guess, featured. Then I looked up a PNG online for a phone and had my silhouette cut it out. So I put it into my silhouette, sized it down so that it would fit in here, and then had it cut it out, had it trace it and cut it out. When it was traced, I just had it traced in pencil. I don't actually have a pen that fits into the pen holder. So once it was traced and cut out, I just took a pen and drew over it to give it so that you could see the lines a little bit better, but it also gave it a very handmade look, and I think that it's super cute. So I like the way that that turns out. This is documenting playing hopscotch in our front yard. So I have a series of pictures of my daughter doing her hopscotch, and then a series of pictures that she took of me when I was doing my hopscotch and joined by my son Jonah. Up at the top, I cut out this, it was a digital stamp that says A Playful Story. I increased the size of it, cut it out twice with my silhouette, and layered up those pieces to give it that dimensional look. I have this little, I want to say it's a Fiskars stamp set where there's this camera, and it's super cute. So I had the camera in my stash already stamped and fussy cut out. So I just added that on there, threw on my date, a tiny little bit of journaling, and called this page done. And then that is it for this one. So I have one more that I've created at this point, but I did start a new book. So I'm in book 2 right now. Love the way that book 1 came out. It is chunky and fun, but the whole purpose of these, well, is twofold, right? One is to just play around and play with different sketch ideas and that. It's also been a really great way to use up some scraps, and it's been a fun way to document some of my favorite moments that we've had over the week. So I try to keep it really current by picking a photo from the prior week. So it's not, so it is fairly current as we are moving through the month. All right, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this flip through. If you have any questions about any of the supplies I used or about the Sunday Sketch series that I have going, let me know in the comments below. I will also add my Instagram handle in case you want to go over to Instagram and follow me there. And then you can also join in on the Sunday Sketch series as well. All right, so that's going to do it for me. So until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic day and a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye now.